no ordinary stream. From the ashes, Phoenix talks manifest in a dream. Got a growing channel, YouTube's where the wisdom resides. For all the nest members, no truth can ever hide. She's an under detective on the digital beat, questioning the unthinkable, bringing fire to the heat. With a mind so advanced, highly intelligent and bold, part of the hive mind with birdie stories to unfold. Common sense is a superpower, cutting through the noise, unlocking closed minds, amplifying all our voices.
Phoenix, Phoenix, what do you see? Unlocking knowledge for you and me. The nest is rising strong and true, sharing wisdom, me and you. Clap, clap, clap for the truth we seek. Every answer, week by week.
Hello, 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 all you nesters. Get in here. Happy Friday afternoon. TGIF. It has been a while, like a day. Woo! It has been a wild ride with these evidence photos coming out. And we are going to get to our part 2, the Idaho victims. And let me just throw this up here and grab this for you guys. There is a quick video I wanted to take a peek at. How are you? Everyone get in the nest. Get in here. All right, let me grab this. We are taking a peek at what is going on with these victims and witnesses. Now, did you guys get a chance to watch part 1? Just want to get an idea for you guys. Did you watch part 1? Went over the legal. Okay, 34 in chat, 17 hits. Yeah, let's do that. So we went over the legal definitions of witnesses and victims on part 1. This is our follow-up part 2. Do me a favor. Look who finally showed up. Who finally showed up? Me? Hey, better late than never, right? I was like, what the heck? I thought I was scheduled for a different time, but that was me. I had to get my computer time fixed from Mountain Standard Time to Pacific Time. Go figure. So that's the kind of day I've been having. How are all of you? What is the consensus about what we are seeing in some of these evidence pictures? Oh my gosh. It is wild to me how just nothing is lining up. Nothing. So let's see. We're all here playing a game to kill time. I'm here. I am here. No worries. Let me turn that stupid machine off because it's gonna really irritate me. So some of these crime scene photos are absolutely amazing. It is very consuming, confusing, not consuming. I'm trying to read something and look at this. You guys got me going. Where is my picture? Dang it. Okay, well, we're just going to go. I'm confused. I'm confused too. We're all confused today. It's Friday. I'm confused now with all the pictures. Yeah. It's bizarre. It is totally bizarre. Let me take a poll real quick. Have you seen any of my recent short videos or my regular videos on the YT since you guys are all here? Have you seen the ones with the window? Extremely confused. I gotcha. TikTok. Let's see. TikTok Phoenix Docs. Let's see what I got here. All right, here is this video. Let's see what we got. Phoenix talks. Shoot. Let's see. I am not going to let it beat me down. Okay, so I'm going to play this really super quick video for you, and let's get this ball rolling. Since I was 5 minutes late, I apologize and forgive me. So let's get this rolling. Let me see if you guys can see this. I've got way too many tabs open. I have about 30 tabs open, y'all. If you saw my studio, you'd be like, girl, what are you doing? Okay, so let's get into this today. We are going to talk about witness and victims. But since we brought up the evidence, let me show you the recent videos, and maybe that will cover that. I don't know, maybe tomorrow. I don't know what we're doing. Hold on. Maybe tomorrow. So let's play this video, and I'm going to stop chit-chatting and let's get going.
Now, I'm going to give you facts and evidence in regards to the Idaho 4 case. And these crime scene photos that you're seeing right here that people are saying that this is Kohberger's hands are absolutely 100% wrong. And I'm going to show you the police report that says exactly what is on the window. So this was the picture of one of the crime scene photos that was released today. And in fact, these fingerprints are clear in the supplemental report number 1 made by Corbin Smith. And on page 2, let me get that for you. Now on page 2, I'll read just the sentence to spell it out for you. I observed a trail of footsteps headed away from the slider that turned right around a stump in the backyard that led toward the front of the house. I observed a set of small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared damaged and it was laying on the ground. I located smudged fingerprints on the glass slider door. Right there. They were small. They were not big man handprints. I don't know why they were on the window. God only knows. However, that screen off of that window was already off of the window. And I'll show you that next. In the noise complaint video on CopCam on August 16, 2022, you see Kaylee and Hunter Johnson, and right down there, you see the screen door on the ground. So this screen door was off of the window for probably some time. It didn't look like maintenance was done to put the screen back on the window. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 months. 3 months that screen was on the ground. So I'm going to always give you the facts and the truth here. Well, facts and evidence at least. We don't know what the truth is in this whole case, but I will show you something I found very interesting as a bonus. Now on Justice for All, FOUR, the number 4, all.com, these reports are searchable. And when you search small, you can see all the results for small. This report was written 2/2/23 by Dustin Blaker. And I want you to understand something about these reports. Supplement 140 states photos of items requested to be held by defense team. Now, what does that say? On February 2nd, 23, around 8 a.m., Corporal Brett Payne and myself responded to the secure storage area in the city shop to take photos of property belonging to DM. We all know who DM is, right? And another identified female. Another identified female. Who was that unidentified female? MPD had previously removed items belonging to D, B, Xana, Ethan, Maddie, Kaylee. Items had also been removed from a spare bedroom on the first floor. Ann Taylor, defense counsel, was granted permission to go through these items to see what could be released back to the proper owners. Prior to Mrs. Taylor being given the chance to look at these items, property belonging to Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee had already been released. Moscow Police Department has also given Dee back her belongings, but were able to get her to return them. Miss Taylor requested we set aside the following items. Items from Dee belonging: handwritten note, pink and white blanket with red hearts, pink and white cloth possibly used as a curtain or decoration, black and white van shoes. I'll pause. Red and white unknown brand shoes, black and white Converse shoes. Items from the spare bedroom: Adidas backpack, white short sleeve shirt, size small. Green and pink coat, unknown brand. Keep those last two items in mind. The above items were placed in cardboard boxes and set aside until Miss Taylor can get to court order stating she can take the items. Sequence number 140 bonus. Stay tuned for more of these evidence. And you know the drill. Comment below and be well. You should know by now.
Okay, so let me just stop that real quick. There you go. Now, I'm going to go over here and we're going to start sharing the Moscow Police Department reports that we have up on Justice for All. That's spelled FOURALL. I just typed it in the chat and there it is. So if you haven't gotten the reports that are very easy and searchable, go right over here to the website, grab them, because we are doing a live dig on witnesses and victims. So when you start looking at who is a victim and who's a witness, let's try to figure out who, from our part one, let's try to figure out who legally is a victim and who legally is a witness. Do you believe that Kaylee was a legal victim? That's my first question. Type a yes or no. Was Kaylee by the courts designated a legal victim? Now, if you didn't watch yesterday, you might want to go back and watch it, because according to the court records, Kaylee was never given a victim's advocate form. She was not recognized legally as a victim unless it was sealed, because her parents did retain counsel. They didn't agree with what was going on in the beginning. So legally, I'll stay on the fence. I'll stay 50-50 on this one, because there was nothing in the repository that we saw yesterday. Remember, the repository was in this factual document. This is the court repository. In the case summary, you go ahead and open that bad boy up. And in the case summary, you can search the word rights, because they would have been given a victim's right form. Now, I don't know about you, but something's going on with the Idaho website today. It is hosted by Amazon, in case you didn't know. Most of our government, state, local, federal, our national security secrets are hosted through Amazon, if you guys didn't know that, okay? So I don't understand why we're having such a problem with, and I'll share it, with opening these web pages. It's just horrible. So I don't know if they're having some problems at Amazon or if they're having some problems with the Idaho courts. But yeah, so that's kind of what's happened over there. So until we can get into that, we can't see the case summary today. But You can't see who was given a victim's form unless you go back and watch yesterday's live, which I already had it up there because I had a feeling that they were going to take this website down at one time or another. And I'm not saying that it has been. I'm just saying and speculating, in my humble opinion, that it has been disconnected. So if you are able to access the case summary, I did download it. I'd have to pull it up. If you are able to access it and search it, it's so much easier. So, that being said, if it is in fact gone, then the last copy I have was yesterday. You downloaded all of it, but a few I couldn't get. Perfect. Good job, guys, because eventually this will all go away. So if you can download everything, I've done it, all the way up to date. So I've downloaded everything to date. And I will have you know, I am almost done. Let me see if I can find my document real quick. I am almost done doing this narrative. I'll share this real quick for you. Oh, I can't. Shoot. It is an index of all the Moscow Police Department files, and it gives a real high overview. So we'll talk about that later. So let's go and let's do a live search real quick, and let's do victim, because I want to get this going. Do you think that Bethany was a victim or a witness? Anyone? Victim or witness? Legally speaking. Now remember, she wasn't and didn't get a victim's form either. A witness. Yeah, I'm leaning towards more likely a witness. Neither. Okay. Because the reason I say this is one of the things I noticed is, and this form will be talked about in evidence 124. Yeah, I'm kind of torn with her too. I think she witnessed something she wants to stay very distant from, in my humble opinion. I said it's awake from the alumni. Yeah, probably so. Now, when you began searching this form for victims or witnesses or evidence, she could be both. Yeah, absolutely. I'd have to agree with that. Some of the friends and family went to canvass the area. It said on November 20th, 2022, just 7 days later, multiple friends and family of the victims gathered in Moscow, organized into several groups and canvassed several areas for Moscow for possible evidence. So, there were some things found, and they all took, photographs. And this is Danny Vargas writing this narrative 124. And she said that a clear plastic food bag was found. A clear food service grade plastic glove located at the top of a hillside between Nez Perce and the U of I administration building. And then just down there where it was a plastic glove, large beige metal Generac generator box, which is kind of odd. Because if you remember in the Banfield footage, there was some type of box that was on the ground. And I'm thinking, if you've ever seen, now I'm just saying this in general, if you've ever seen a Sharps container, like for diabetics or people who need to get rid of needles. Now, I've seen disposable metal boxes like this for hazardous gear. And I'm wondering if by any chance that was possibly used in this act, because it says large beige metal Generac generator box. There was a plastic bag inside of this box, which looked like it had white grease rags inside of it. I photographed it and I did not collect it, which is kind of odd. And then they found a light pink beige pair of women's underwear, Warner's brand, and it was located in a juniper shrub by the Shadrach Amphitheater in the Charles Houston Shadrach Arboretum. A white winter glove, a black winter glove fits all size. This item was located near the steps, and it led from Memorial Gym parking to lot 39 up to the tennis courts. I collected all these items. They were transported to MPD, stored them in the temporary storage so detectives could dry and later book into evidence. Now, there was never a follow-up in regards to this, but there was, they thought it was blood, but it wasn't. There were several blood splat on rocks, and then some at the Stair Building 5 at the Grove apartment, and the ISP determined those were not blood. So that was one thing they did for the victims, was to go out and try to find any evidence for these victims. You know, we could talk about Kaylee's dog. I did a video early today. We can talk about that later. I didn't see much in regards to victims' files. Most of it looks like it went over to the FBI. And that is a little concerning because obviously MPD wasn't really the lead on this case, even though it did not go federal. And this is evidence sequence number 146. It's actually a narrative. There's no evidence in this sequence, but so-and-so from the FBI analyst provided me a file for each of the 4 victims. The file contained background information on the victims from the University of Idaho. The information was obtained by request during the early days of the investigation. I maintained the files and in a locked file cabinet in my office until February 16, 2023. So what happened to those files on these victims after February 16, 2023? I'm so confused. Why would they? I mean, it tells you what he does, but then he turns them over to the clerk for them to be scanned and attached to the case. So did he have hard copies? Obviously, because they had to be filed and scanned. So they gave him hard copies. Why were none of these things digitally tracked? That's like chain of command, chain of evidence, chain of custody. I mean, just amazing how little this was really, truly followed up with. This whole investigation, in my humble opinion. So, you know, obviously they did a little bit more searching. There was a Google search to see if they could learn anything on the victims. They could. They had a big search from Google and a couple of other things in regards to victims. And, you know, you can go through and search every single keyword for victims. Because a brutal knife attack would have blood everywhere. Yeah, you guys are still on the crime scene photos. I know. We'll cover those, but there's some things I want to take a look at before I start just making video after video or long form video, because, gosh, there's a lot to unpack there. So in regards to victims, in these narratives that you're seeing, there's not really much shared, okay? And it's not like we want to open, you know, the door to learn everything about these individuals. It's terrible. This tragedy was awful. But some of the things I'm seeing in most of these reports is it's very general. There's not a lot of specifics other than the questionable things that the ISP and the MPD have done. But obviously, there is no relation to Kohberger and these individuals. Now, I want to preface this with, I don't want to say it wrong. There was a video that said there was no relationship to Kohberger in the house, and there was no relationship to Kohberger and the victims. They did not say there was no relationship to the survivors. Has anybody ever caught that? Has anybody ever caught the fact that they said there was no relationship to the victims. And they didn't say anything about the survivors, which made me think, did somebody know a survivor? Was there any type of connection to a survivor? Have no idea. Can't speculate, don't know. So one of the things that I came across was the examination of this device on 2/30 on the supplement. There was an email account, a Gmail account. It had multiple messages and call logs that came across any reference to known victims in the case and was unable to locate any connection to this device. Now, we don't know whose device exactly this is because it doesn't say, it's redacted. And it says ISP Trooper Justin Klitsch transported it to the Moscow Police Department Forensic Lab where it was securely stored. And that was a silver Samsung S8 that was located in a dumpster. Well, that's another one for the evidence logs, right? Because obviously they put evidence, but they don't have a evidence number on this. So these are just really crazy errors that I've seen in a lot of these evidence files. So whoever had a Samsung S8 silver phone, there was something found in a dumpster and couldn't find any data, was unable to locate any evidence that it involved this case. It was found 1.5 miles away from the crime scene. And it hasn't been acted since October 22. I'm just surprised at all the stuff that they're finding all over the place. So that didn't have any relationship to the victims, but it is important to, maybe they didn't log it in as evidence because it wasn't really evidence. But I guess they just discard stuff if they don't find anything, right? There's a crazy theory BK and BF were having an affair. Yeah, that seems kind of out there, don't you think? I don't know. But I don't want to speculate. You know how that goes. Or assume. So, here again, they had no interaction. They wanted to see if Kohberger had any interactions with the victims leading up to November 13th, the crime. And nothing in these reports could be found from the warrants, not related to any of the victims. Now, this is pretty something interesting because I know that I think another creator was talking about, what was that? Minky's Bar. And if you type in Minky, I believe, was it Minky's Bar or was it some bar? That's in these reports too. I can't remember what that place is after they went to the corner club, but yeah. So you can keep searching through victim. You can keep searching and seeing if there's anything else in here that we've missed. And there's not a lot in regards to, other than, Mingles. Mingles is what it is. So there was a report, M-I-N-G. Is it M-I-N-G? Mingles, like singles. So there was a detailed report on 131 supplement. They wanted to gather all the receipts, all the credit card receipts from Mingles to see who was there and who wasn't there. So I know that video going around with Hayden stealing the sign and the timestamp and everything, they were actually looking to see if anybody went to the Mingles Bar and Grill. So that's interesting too, that I had seen in there. Not much else about the victims. So why is this so important? Because witnesses, obviously there's two surviving witnesses that we know, and that's DM and BF. And they're allegedly, obviously, AC was on the lease prior, but she had moved out but was not there that weekend. So there are 2 surviving roommates, family, friends, neighbors, and others. They could give context to the victim's routines, relationships, what happened before and after. We're not seeing a lot of that. Obviously, that's not something that the police will go investigate. Ellie will look at the crime scene photos. They'll go ahead and talk about the how the bodies were discovered, which we see those in the reports, the evidence that was collected, which we see that, phone records. They'll talk about expert witnesses. You can find that in the repository, and the victim's impact witness statements. Obviously, since he was convicted and he was sentenced, we saw the victim's impact statements. And some of those impact statements were heart touching, and some of them were just disgusting, in my humble opinion. You can also see what's been filed about the victims. And, you know, the media has gone wild in their antics and spreading rumors and gossip and just outlandish claims that we have all seen. A lot of these, Ellie, the prosecutors, say that this was just not factual, which is wild because now everyone's backpedaling. And then some of them actually say, no, this did happen now, because they've got to save some face. So the state, you know, in the repository said it wasn't going to call any lay witnesses in the penalty phase, which is the sentencing phase. And since there was no court trial, we don't even get to see any of that. So why is all this important? Is Bethany and Kaylee are not listed in any of the, obviously, the rights, victims' rights. They're not Bethany's not listed as witnesses. And yes, this photo is AI, guys. You know that I like to use AI photos and not real factual photographs. So the families may have never submitted the form, and basically maybe they didn't want to be involved. So my humble opinion on witnesses versus victims is Bethany probably didn't want to be a witness. She didn't consider herself a victim either. She just didn't want to have anything to do with this. And, you know, Kaylee's family obviously was in opposition. That's why they hired counsel. So if you're asking why Bethany and Kaylee may not appear to have legal victims' rights, they probably, both of their families chose not to participate. And that was my humble opinion a long time ago. But everybody kept asking me, oh, are they victims? Or are they witnesses? Well, I mean, you have to use your best judgment and decide, are they victims or are they witnesses legally, right? You can't just say, oh, they're victims. No. Now, the court, even in the repository, they even had a hearing about who was going to be witnesses and who was and what were the victims' roles. I don't know if you guys remember that. They did have a hearing. It was a closed hearing. It was sealed also. And here is the actual date of that hearing. That was 5/20/2025. They actually had a hearing that was discussing the role of the victims. And in this victims right here in the middle of the screen where it's highlighted in orange, that was indeed sealed. That is one of the key pieces of documents that I hope they unseal, because I would love to know what this said about the role of the victims. Who's with me on that? Let me check the pulse of this chat. I know you guys are talking back and forth. I know there's a lot of weird stuff going on. We're just trying to pick up the pieces and try to figure this out. No, don't worry, Dana. Nothing's gone on. Nothing really major. We're just going over the legal ramifications of victims versus witnesses. Basically asked who was a victim, in your humble opinion, who was a witness. And that's basically it. So there's not much here today. I just wanted to come on real quick. A lot of people asked if I was going to do a follow-up. And yeah, so that's what we have. I think I'll come back and I'll do live on, if you guys are open to it. You guys want me to do a live on the evidence photos and what I see beyond the video I played today, because I can definitely show you that video real quick before we go. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but let's watch it real quick.
About the crime scene photos and the evidence. While I was working out, I had a thought about the crime scene photos and the evidence from the police reports. Now, hear me out. This right here, kitchen window. Look at the plant knockdown, look at the scene, and tell me what's wrong in this picture, because I'll help you out. Let me grab the original picture. Now, this picture right here is the original picture from one of the TikTok videos. Now, you can see the plant, the tiny one in the pot is right there in the middle of the center, and the other plant is off to the side. But in the crime scene photos that have just been released, excuse me, this is what I see. This picture looks like it's been taken at night, and the plant looks like that was in the middle of the windowsill had been knocked over and someone tipped it back over. But look at all the dirt on the bottom. It's clearly someone has cleaned up after perhaps a tiny person may have climbed through the window, allegedly. And how did I come to that conclusion? Let me show you the report I shared yesterday. Now, on page 233 of the obviously searchable PDF file we have at justiceforall.com, it had specified there were some handprints on the east side, but they were tiny prints. They never said if there were any prints on the kitchen window, and if they observed small handprints on the window on the east side. That kind of made me think perhaps somebody small climbed through the kitchen window. If they were boosted up, opened, went through that window, knocked some things out, and then opened the doors from the inside. Now, that's just a theory, that's a suspicion, but according to the reports, that would make sense why all that stuff was knocked over, unless there was an actual scuffle or an argument or even a fight in the kitchen. But of course, we don't see any of that right now. So this is based off a hunch. It is not factual. The reports are factual. The picture is factual. I'm just looking into this a little more about how they got into the house. Now, the reason I say this, keep in mind, there was a report from Bethany, the investigation. She said who had the actual lock code key to get in the house. And if the back door was, the sliding door was locked, somebody had to have unlocked it from the inside. Now, I don't know if this back window that they're talking about here is actually Dylan's window. Those handprints could have been there a while back, but I started thinking, how would an intruder get into the house if they didn't use the key code and if they didn't have somebody inside to open the doors? You know the drill. Comment, make sure. Be well. Well, Murphy, this just breaks my heart. I'm a dog lover, and in the Idaho 4, they have released some new crime scene photos, and I will tell you, this is just a word of caution. This picture right here doesn't match what the initial report said. Now, this is a
All right, you all. That's all I had for today. I will go ahead and do a quick video later on with you. We'll do a quick live on these crime scene photos and what I see and maybe what you see. So like and follow and share, of course. And as always, you guys, you little nesters, be well.
This ain't no ordinary stream. From the ashes, Phoenix talks manifest in a dream. Got a growing channel, YouTube's where the wisdom resides. For all the nest members, no truth can ever hide. She's an under detective on the digital beat, questioning the unthinkable, bringing fire to the heat. With a mind so advanced, highly intelligent and bold, part of the hive mind with birdie stories to unfold. Common sense is a superpower, cutting through the noise, unlocking closed minds, amplifying all our voices.
Phoenix, Phoenix, what are you